Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through. So, pulse of the people. Firstly, before we go into the findings, tell me what exactly you did. How did you go about conducting this survey?
This is a random study. It's representative of the South African population, 15 years and older. What we do when we get the results back, obviously there are many sections of this that concerns younger people as well, the 15 and 17-year-olds. But for these purposes of the particular press release, we filtered results by those 18 years and older so that we can look at people of voting age. What are they saying about different things? The study was done all over the country, as I said. It's representative of the country as a whole, even going into deep rural areas, big cities, towns, villages.
And for a survey, it's a big sample, 3,500.
It is a big sample. The margin of error on it is 1.65. And I think one other feature that's extremely important is that people are spoken to in their homes and in their home languages, so that you take away all the possible misconceptions and misunderstandings.
So you had a range of issues where you
Yes.
wanted people to rate the government's handling of it, ranging from very well, fairly well, not very well, or not well at all. Let's talk
That's
about
correct.
the handling of the economy, managing the South African economy. Tomorrow the finance minister delivers the budget speech. What are people saying about the management of the economy?
I'm very glad I'm not in his shoes, because roughly 4 in every 10 South Africans 18 years and older say that the government is not handling is handling the economy well, whereas 6 out of every 10 are saying that the government is not handling the economy well. I do have to say, however, that this is better than last year. It's not all doom and gloom, because last year, at the same time, only 25%, in other words, 1 in every 4 South Africans said that the government was handling it well. So at least now it is up to 38%. So not a bad increase in trust, but still not a wonderful result.
But I see that in as far as issues, when you unpack the specific issues, when you talk about managing the economy, the sentiment on reducing unemployment not looking good. And who can blame the people when the figures continue to be what they are?
Exactly. And on all those things like the inflation rate, job creation, the cost of living. In other words, those things that really touches South Africans every day of their lives. Only a third are thinking that the government is doing well on these issues, whereas more than 60% think the government is not doing well. So I really think these issues need a lot more attention. And what I can say, in all the years that we have done this study, we can go back quite a few years and look at it. Unemployment has always come up. It has been a problem with us for, I think, longer than 25 years.
So it will be interesting to see what the various political parties take out of this survey, because I think these are important insights that they are getting just months from the election. But there was some good news. It seems South Africans believe that in terms of attracting international investors, well, it's not overwhelming majority of people believing that things are going well there, but at least it's 50-50, is it?
It's 50-50, yeah, it's 50-45. So at least there's a little glimmer of hope. And as I said, these results are not as bad as what they were last year. They're still not good, but at least things are changing slowly, slowly.
Yeah. Then you went a step further, didn't you, Marie, and you looked at the political allegiance of the various people that you were talking to there. And there you made some interesting findings about how despondent or how optimistic the various supporters of the various political parties are. What did you find?
It is so interesting. If we ask people whether the country is going in the right or the wrong direction, it seems such a simple question, but it tells you so much. And 29%, it's only 29%, I must add, of South Africans are saying the country is going in the right direction, whereas 51%, so just on half, of South Africans are saying the country is going in the wrong direction. And again, as with the other things, there's a little sliver of hope, because last year, 2/3 of South Africans said the country was going in the wrong direction. So it was much worse. But if we look at the political parties, and I think this is the part that really interests me, there's very little difference between the views of the different political parties. About half of all of them say the country is going in the wrong direction. We can have a look. For the ANC, it's 47% of ANC supporters. For the DA, 52% of DA supporters and 53% of EFF supporters. So there's differences, but the differences are not huge.
Yeah.
So this is not a question that one part of the population are despondent and are just marking the government down.
I mean,
this
I would be worried if I was the ANC
Yeah.
and running the national government, and 47% of my supporters said the country is going in the wrong direction. But it seems also the EFF supporters particularly despondent.
The EFF supporters particularly despondent, and we also see it on some of the other things. If we look at the situation of families, we ask people whether the family is better off than what they were a year ago and how it will be in a further year's time. And if we look at that, the EFF supporters again is in each case, the most despondent. And again, there's not big differences between the three parties. But for instance, if we look at thinking of the way your family lives, would you say that your family is better off than a year ago, about the same, or worse off? The EFF supporters, a quarter of them say they're worse off, whereas for DA and ANC it's only about 20%. So definitely the most despondent group seems to be the EFF supporters.
So just finally then, Marie, you as pollsters and people who conduct these surveys sort of give us a glimpse into the psyche and the thinking of various categories of voters. What is the value of this particular research ahead of this election that we are headed to?
I think exactly that. That you can see how other people like you think and feel. This is, I think, important for political parties to take note, but I also think it is important for South Africans, because we all live in our own little circles and we know what the people around us say, but we quite often have very little a concept of how other people in the country think and feel. And I think that's the main value. It tells South Africans how other South Africans think and feel about things, and it gives you like a countrywide perspective.
All right, thank you so much for coming through. Marie Harris, who is the director of Ipsos South Africa, joining us here on ENCA.